Hello everyone. Today we're going to be learning how to create a hinge door. First off, you're going to need to create a part, which I'm doing here. This is going to be your hinge door. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scale it down. This is going to be your frame. Sorry. So I'm making it like that. Scale it down a little bit more. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this by clicking Control D on my keyboard, and then I'm going to move it over just a little bit, and then I'm going to scale this out a little so that we got our door and we got our door frame. And what I want to do now is I want to rename this door frame to frame, and I want to rename the door to door. Next, I want to add an attachment to here. And if you don't see it here, you just need to type it in the search object field. So I'm going to add an attachment, and same thing on the door. So click the plus sign next to the door and type in attachment, and then just select it. Once it's added, I want to rename this to frame attach and door attach, just so I can distinguish each one. And now when you add the attachments, you'll notice that there's a green ball that's generated in the middle of your part. This is the default area where your attachments are created. If you don't see this green thing, go up to the top, click on model, then go over to where you see constraint details and make sure that it's checked. So now I see the two green balls right here, right? If I unselect it, I won't see it. If I click it, I'll see the two balls. All right. Now, what we want to do is we want to grab the attachments and we want to bring it to the surface, because that's where our door is going to be revolving around. So I'm going to grab my move right here, and then I'm going to click on the attachment and move it to the surface. And camera is moving a little fast, but it's all right. So right there, barely on the surface. And I'm going to do the same thing with this one, and I'm going to move it over. Just barely touching the surface. There we go. Next, I want to add a hinge constraint on the door. So what I'm going to do is click the arrow here and type in hinge constraint. Under hinge constraint, if you select it, you're going to see an attachments section, and you're going to see attachment 0 and attachment 1 with blank right next to it. Click on attachment 0 and click on the door attachment that you created earlier. Now click on attachment 1 in that blank area and click on frame attachment. Now you'll see that the hinge constraint has been added, and this whole thing is green. That's how you know you got it. And then let's just start here and let's click play and see what happens if we try to move it. Well, actually, we need to go to the frame and anchor it down so it doesn't fall over like that. Only anchor the door. Only anchor the frame. Don't anchor the door, because if you anchor the door, it's not going to move. So now that I have the frame anchored over here on my properties window, I'm going to go over to the play button, and I'm going to go run into the door, and nothing happens. Right? So why is that? Well, that's because right now our door is not moving around that way. It's not moving along or around that the Z or no, the Y axis. So in order to tell what axis it needs to revolve around, you need to look at this yellow arrow on the attachment itself. See the yellow arrow? That's what we need to focus on. The part will rotate along the axis that the yellow is pointing on. So because the yellow is pointing to the left or horizontally, the part is going to swing like up and down, you know, like a Ferris wheel kind of. But in order to change that, we just need to rotate it. So I'm going to select my rotate tool, and to make things easier, I'm going to go up to the rotate section and select rotate. Make sure that it's 90 degrees. That way when we rotate this, it'll only move 90 degrees at a time. So I'm going to rotate this, and now we have our yellow arrow pointing upwards. Now we need to do the same for the other attachment. So as you can see, the yellow's right there. I'm going to rotate it up. Now we have both attachments pointing up. Now if we play, and we open it, it works. Now we didn't set a constraint on this, so this can move around this frame. This door can move around the frame indefinitely, right? But what if we want the door to stop at a certain point? Well, then we need to modify the hinge constraint. So on the hinge constraint, if you select that, go down and select limits enabled. This will let you limit where or how much this door moves. So if I say the lower angle is -45 and the upper angle is 45, the door is only going to open 45 degrees back and forth. So let's change it to around like 90 and 90. So I changed the lower angle to -90 and upper angle to 90. So now if I open the door, it's going to stop at this 90 degrees right here, and it won't go any further. And same thing here. It'll go 90 degrees, but no more. And you can play around with that. And it all comes down to how much you want your door to open. Say if I put this to 0, then we'll see how much. Let's see how much it opens up. So I set the lower angle to 0, right? So now it's not going to let me push it. But if I try to open it the other way, the upper angle is still 90 degrees, so it'll open up this way. If I wanted to open up the other way, then I would just reverse those numbers. And yeah, I'll do that really quick. I'll change it to -90 for the lower angle and 0 for the upper angle. So now I should be able to open it like a normal door, and then close it like a normal door. And yeah, that's how you create a hinged door.